Digimon World Next Order, released at the end of January here in the West for the PS4, is a sequel to the original Digimon World game from the PS1 days. And to be clear, it is the first true sequel to that game, primarily in a story sense. It's basically a virtual pet management RPG, if that makes sense. It's a very niche game made for a very niche crowd, for fans who have stood by the series for years and have wanted another quirky, specific experience that the original Digimon World game offered. And for better or worse, Digimon World Next Order unapologetically takes many cues from the original game. I won't say much about the story. If the protagonist from the original game hadn't been shown off in marketing materials already, I'd be iffy on even ruining that surprise for people, but it directly references the original game's events early on and introduces mysteries that will make longtime fans intrigued. I can't say the game does much to draw in a newcomer to the series or the Digimon World subseries, and that's something I could say on all aspects of the game, not just the plot. Likewise, those looking for an experience similar to Digimon Story's Cyber Sleuth need not apply. Aside from a simple conversational presentation, the games have very different stories and settings. Don't let that deter you if you're coming in from Cyber Sleuth, just let it reset your expectations instead. One similar gripe I had about Cyber Sleuth I can repeat here, though, is that the main protagonist of Next Order, which can either be male or female depending on your choice, is largely mute. This is disappointing since in the original Digimon World, the protagonist was a major part in the game's story and often had things to contribute, even if it was incredibly simplistic, poorly translated dialogue. I just don't think this choice is nearly as effective, and it makes conversations involving the new protagonist awkward. Meanwhile, the original Digimon World protagonist is running around here talking his head off. Part of me just wishes he could have been the main character again. I mean, he's right there! Please? In terms of gameplay mechanics, it feels like a fantastic modernization of what the original game set out to do. You start by picking from 2 Digimon eggs instead of just 1, and are introduced to ways to gather food to feed them, and a gym to train them to help them stand a better chance against opposing Digimon. The game still keeps some things pretty vague, which I think fans who love that about the original will appreciate here, but it makes things frustrating for newcomers or even fans of the series who are less discerning. Once you've figured out what's going on, systems seem to work better than in the original game, it's just that getting to that point of knowledge is a bit demanding. Essentially, your 2 partner Digimon are pets, with needs that need to be met, like being fed, going to the restroom, being praised or disciplined, and meeting certain statistic parameters to keep digivolving to their highest form on a multifaceted line of progression. You can unlock information about how to unlock different Digivolutions through caring for your partners, which is a great concession from having to look up guides online for the original game, while not just outright giving you the information and leaving no sense of mystery. That slight change is very smart in my opinion and helps make the game much less frustrating. So, the objective is still to travel the lands and find specific Digimon to either defeat or help with side quests to convince them to come back to your town and contribute. Each one that comes back either establishes a new business that you can benefit from, or helps out an existing business and expands their options or capabilities. Just like the original game, it's really fun to watch your hard work pay off and see the city grow exponentially over time while you reap the benefits. It's a really great draw, and it really motivates you to seek out new Digimon to recruit just to see what happens next. There's an even better hint system by talking to a Digimon in town that gives you a more specific idea of where to look than in the first game, which is another great convenience. Battles function similarly to the original game as well, yet strike a better balance between the lack of control the original Digimon World game had and the rigid agency a more typical JRPG can exhibit. So when you make contact with an enemy on the overworld, you're flung into a battle where you're still calling the shots, and your Digimon act dependent on their stats, like their power dictating damage dealt, and their speed affecting how often they can attack. However, this time you have a cheering option that boosts your Digimon's order power. With proper timing, you can build this number up and make more direct commands of your Digimon, and execute signature moves. You can also specify specific targets for your Digimon and gear them to either conserve magic points by attacking less, or attacking more with no care about how much MP they're using. Overall, battles are much more engaging and entertaining than in the original game due to a few simple tweaks, and certainly feel like less of a gamble based on their own mechanics. It's a shame it's rarely worth fighting random Digimon due to the minuscule rewards, but at least when you do wind up doing it, it's fun. Now, I've mentioned conveniences so far, which are appreciated due to how obtuse and unforgiving the original game could be at times. But unfortunately, Next Order proudly holds on to one notorious aspect of the original game: its difficulty. You are going to spend a lot of time in the gym, balancing your Digimon stats with their fatigue levels, and spending many in-game days raising their stats since it's the most effective way to do so. Battling wild enemies gives negligible stat gains, after all. In my 20 hours with the game, I was repeatedly hitting progression walls where tougher enemies were trouncing my partners, leading me to walk back to the gym with my digi-tail between my legs, and a sense that perhaps this game just wasn't for me. Even with hours spent in the game's easy mode, I was still hitting bouts where enemies were just too difficult along the main path I was supposed to be heading. Now, Digimon games are infamous for their grinding, and unfortunately Next Order does little to change that. Again, this will be great for those who adore the original game and are used to how much it could ask of players. But for more casual fans like me or newcomers, this will absolutely end playthroughs for those who don't want to dedicate hours and hours to staring at the training screens. It's a shame, but it felt like every time I had overcome a hurdle and had started to make progress, I'd hit a brick wall. And at least for now, it's putting me off playing the game further. The game I always wanted a true sequel to and thought I'd never get was maybe more true than I realized I had wanted. Now, this is a negative for me, but perhaps not for you. If that sounds appealing to you, the game even offers a hard mode so you can really delve into that realm. I just don't have the time like I did when I was a kid to endure such things, unfortunately. I wish I did. Now, I really don't want to head into the end of this review on a huge negative, though, so I want to appreciate some of the smaller things Next Order does that put a huge smile on my face. The most obvious thing is the first game's protagonist returning, but there's also the fact that so many little jingles from the original game return here. Winning a battle leads to the same boxing ring bell ringing and jingle. Recruiting a Digimon to your city has the same music. And even some music tracks were redone, like the first game's boss theme. And I never thought I'd get to hear such a fantastic arrangement of File City's night theme. But every time night falls on Floatia, Next Order's new city, I genuinely feel like a kid again, remembering the sense of wonder and discovery the first game gave me so often as a kid. There are other great touches too, like similar sound effects and little visual references that only true fans of the original game could have thought to include. In the gym before the city's first redesign, for example, there's a giant boxing glove to reference one of the first game's training devices. A conversation with Tanemon about how it's not weird to grow meat on a farm plays out just like in the first game. Gigimon's house has a cardboard box around the window to reference how File City's Digimon had a huge cardboard box as his first house. In addition, many Digimon have the same occupations as Digimon in the original game. Miramon has a restaurant, Bergermon serves as fast travel, etc. It just feels like a lot of care was put into making fans of the original game feel right at home. And again, considering I never thought that game would get a true through-line continuation, that's awesome. Digimon World Next Order may stick too close to the original in some aspects that put me off of it, but the amount of charm it can offer by staying true to its roots in others at least makes me very glad it exists. I'll probably try to get back to it at some point, but for now I can really only recommend it to hardcore fans of Digimon World. Others should look up how rigorous training and grinding can be, and decide from there if it's worth their time to give it a go. Like I said earlier, Next Order knows exactly who it's for, and isn't too concerned about anyone who it wasn't made for. Either way, I'm really happy I got the chance to play it in my lifetime, and see how it advanced the ideas, concepts, and story of the original game. Until next time, I've been Mikono's Fan, and this has been Learning to Love PlayStation. Thank you for watching. This video was generously supported by the following patrons on Patreon. Thank you.